A couple of Statehouse Republicans yesterday holding a news conference, raising warnings about proposed tax increases in the land of Lincoln as the legislative session is getting ready to kick into full gear next week, with the legislature set to hear what Governor J.B. Pritzker wants to do with the state budget. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm your host, Greg Bishop. Thanks for being with us each and every weekday morning. And next week's going to be a big week. The governor's going to be delivering his budget address on Wednesday in front of a joint session of the General Assembly. We'll get a lot of detail about whether or not he's looking to increase spending from current thresholds, whether there's going to be taxpayer savings on any programs, and is he going to call for a surcharge on millionaires? And that would require a constitutional amendment. If you recall, the governor supported the so-called progressive income tax change that voters rejected in 2020. But in 2026 now, you could possibly see another question raised for voters to say, hey, let's change the state's flat income tax to allow for a millionaire surcharge. So that's another tax increase that could possibly be coming. Wouldn't just impact those who are independently wealthy, could possibly impact those who are, pass-throughs for businesses. Small business mechanics say, you got $2 million business. Well, it's more than $1 million, so you're going to have to pay extra taxes on that. So you can see how it might impact different aspects of the economy. But then you drill down even further to some of the other proposals that are out there. And you've got a proposal on taxing bags at the grocery store, for instance. You've got a proposal on taxing campfires at the State House. A couple of Republicans holding a news conference yesterday virtually, and State Representative Dave Severin says the idea of a campfire tax is something that is distasteful.
How out of touch can a politician be to even think of such an idea, let alone put it in a bill form and present it as a serious idea?
So the idea comes from State Representative Amy Briel, and it's essentially, she says that there's misinformation out there about the bill. We talked about this last week with the idea of, if you want to have a open fire in an unincorporated area, the law that she's proposing would not require, but allow for local governments to require a $5 fee to get a permit for a campfire or an open brush fire or something like that. Briel says that this is misinformation and that her intent is to give local fire departments who are already strapped, especially rural volunteer fire departments, the ability to know where stuff's burning at. So she says that it's not intended to be an extra burden on people who just want to have a campfire. But she says she's going to be amending that bill. So Republicans obviously critical of that. But Severin, State Representative Dave Severin, he also criticized the idea of a bag tax.
No matter if it's a paper bag, plastic bag, reusable bag, they're going to get me for starting in 2027, 10 cents a bag. Then in 2028, it goes up to 15 cents, 20 cents in 2029, and a quarter in 2030. And it's not a one-time fee or tax. It's a permanent escalating tax on necessities. And it hits families every time they shop. Between taxing your backyard campfires and the bags you would use to bring home those things for that fire, the Democrats want to get in your pocket every day. So we simply can't afford these dangerous and unworkable proposals to move forward. The taxpayers have had enough. And so have we. So
will taxpayers hear more about this in the coming months? Again, legislative session ends May 31st. And if you look at the trajectory, it seems that year after year after year, we've had tax and fee increases of different kinds. Last year, we had the tax increase on sports wagering. We had every year, July 1st, tax increase on gas tax. You've got businesses having to pay more for certain issues when it comes to their tax filings. And all of these things, year after year after year after year, you're seeing those tax increases being proposed, debated, and then passed, including during fall veto session. If you recall, at first it was going to be, a tax on retail delivery. Then they dropped that and said, we'll just allow for Cook County to increase, sales taxes, or around CTA and the Regional Transit Authority. They can increase sales taxes regionally and also some toll fee increases. So you can see just the progression of how these things happen. Get a little bit of a flash of a bunch of tax increases. Those are modified until last minute. They ultimately pass something. So the concerns are there. But State Representative Kyle Moore, Republican, yesterday holding a news conference, he said that the priorities of the Democrats are, well, they go too far.
We have seen the state of Illinois, the sanctuary state of Illinois, that is, prioritize tax dollars to pay for healthcare, lodging, food, daycare for people who are in this country illegally. The prioritization of non-citizens' expenditures has cost our taxpayers nearly $3 billion in the last 3 years alone. Add that to the fact that Democrats have raised taxes and fees and used one-time funding gimmicks to pass record spending budgets in the middle of the night on the last day of session, and you have a recipe for continued unaffordability of living in this state.
We'll be watching closely so you can keep getting to work. We'll inform you of how the State House is going to look at spending your dollars or increasing how much they take from you. And that's what we do at the Center Square is we watch things so that we can inform you, the taxpayer, on how you're being impacted by your government. All right, it is Illinois in Focus Daily right here with the Center Square.